So this is the launch of the Rainmakers Journal. I hope you've got your journals. I've already got my first entry in the journal. Without any further ado, to make the introduction, please welcome Shukri.
It's been a very long road to get us here this afternoon, and we are all very grateful that you've taken time out through the traffic to come and have this first exclusive screening of Unwritten with us. I'm going to take you back, how many years? Maybe 13 years now, maybe more, 14 years. I was a penniless student, and I was a cab driver in Cape Town about 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago. And so I became a driver, and I got a public driving permit to pay back my student loans. And that was my first job outside of school. And what I realized then was that driving a cab was like traveling the world, because all different types of people would come and sit behind me and tell me things: good people, bad people, rude people, wealthy people. And then I had another job where I used to drive hotel staff home in the evening. So they would clock off at 11 o'clock, and I would drive them into the townships of Cape Town. And that was also an interesting education, because it taught me different things about hard work and life, and a different side of a different type of guest that I drove in the daytime. And it was that time that I started to really write down and journal my thoughts and think of the fact that I was growing so much just by driving these people around. And then at university, a lecturer said to us in one of the very first courses at university, he said, if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you have to train like an Olympic athlete, you have to eat like an Olympic athlete, you have to think like an Olympic athlete. And he said, if you want to be an Olympic thinker, you have to keep a journal. And you have to write down your thoughts, because journaling changes the frequency of things. So what may seem to be a good idea when you speak to someone or you convince yourself is very different when you actually write it down. And so that was my first interaction with really trying to process my thoughts with the world around me, and try to unlock the sort of hidden treasures within myself at the time. And then Amr and I started our business, which we know today as The Fort. And 9 years later, I think Amr and I can both say that every good and bad idea we've ever had as entrepreneurs have come from the journals that we keep as well. So we have stacks and stacks of journals. And wherever we go and we travel, and we've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world to over 25 countries, filming and things all over the world. And we've just been really fascinated by the people that we have met and come into contact with. As an entrepreneur and as people running our own business, who did we look to find inspiration and knowledge? And we went to these thought leadership platforms, and whether you're in the creative industries, advertising, media, film, or you're an engineer, or you're in finance, or you're in business, it's very insular. It's the same people talking about the same things all the time. And where are they getting their knowledge from? From a slightly bigger pool, perhaps abroad, but that's all it is. And what I found, that it was just not very valuable to me. And I found that the interactions with normal people on an everyday level, as we traveled, and even in South Africa, was a lot more meaningful and a lot more enriching for me. And that's where the Rainmakers Journal was born. And I think this year was the first time we've called it the Rainmakers Journal, but it's been something that has been nameless for a very long time. We've gone out and we've encouraged people to journal and to keep a journal. And so the Rainmakers Journal, as a thought leadership platform, is going to do two things. Number one, have thought leadership sessions, as we are here today, and we hope that it can be rich media thought leadership. So a film today, perhaps a photo series tomorrow, perhaps some poetry, perhaps a panel discussion, perhaps a robust debate down the line. And then the second one is that all of you have been given a journal, and inside I think it's the third page, is a donation certificate. And so for every journal that we produce as the Rainmakers Journal, we will give a youth workshop and a journal to students all over the world. And I think it's just been a very, very enriching process, and I hope that you guys will come with us on this journey, and it really is the start of hopefully a very exciting ride. And so that leads us to Unwritten, the film that we're here today. So that was the background to the Rainmakers Journal. And so Amr and I were sitting around and we were going, how do we bring this idea of a journal to life? This idea of traveling and meeting people and gaining knowledge from normal people. And if the Rainmakers Journal is this anthology of the common man's knowledge, how do we bring this to life? Do we stand up like this and give a speech, or? And Amar was like, well, let's shoot a film. Let's try and like visually bring a journal to life. And so we sat there, and we were, where can we go where we can find and unlock, where neither of us have been, and unlock like real old world knowledge. And we decided Nepal. We didn't know much about it, but from what we've heard, we thought we could go there and really try and capture the beauty and bring this visual journal to life in a film. I hope that you enjoy it. It's 35 minutes. And once again, thank you very much for all coming out this afternoon.